Listen, y'all gotta stop with all these excuses, okay? I'm too busy. I think it's gonna heal on its own. Ooh, that bump will go away sometime. No, girl. No. Get into ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and instantly book an appointment all in one place. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Monet to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today.
Monét Talks. Everybody come sit down, let's have a chat. Monét Talks. Living life gossip, chop it up, this or that. Monét Talks. Get comfortable, cause you on the show. Monét Talks. We just wanna know where you been, who you been with. Monét Talks.
Monét Talks, listeners, viewers, watchers, everything in between. We are joined today in studio by somebody who is literally shifting and changing culture. We got Alphonzo Terrell in the house. Alphonzo, what's good?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm about to start kvetching.
Stop. No, I'm excited that you're here.
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm so happy to be here.
Because, I love having, yes, you are a professional person in everything you're doing, but we're also friends.
Yes.
And I just love that I get to have you here and we get to talk about all things social, culture, all those things, because you are a culture mover, a culture shaker. And I think that right now, for me as a person existing in this world, with everything going on, it feels like something that is very much needed. And your energy and what you bring to the world is very important right now, more than ever.
Why, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Why, thank you. And likewise, feel the same. Feel the same.
You.
Honored to be here. To be in the studio. We watched so many episodes. I'm like, this is real. I'm on the couch. It feels great.
Well, also, what really fucks with my mind is every time I talk to you, I feel like I learn that you lived 10 other lives. I had no idea that you were up in HBO and Showtime and all those things.
Yes.
So did you go to school for media?
No. I went to college actually to play basketball. I was a college,
I knew that. I knew basketball, yeah.
I was a college basketball player for 1 year. Uh-huh. I lasted 1 year and then I was like, I'm not going to the NBA.
Okay, why not though? Why not?
Other things. I mean, fair enough. If you are playing at a high level and you really are this is where I want to spend the next 10 years of my life. But I wasn't going to be on the Warriors or something like that. I was going to be in Finland or
and the Warriors are a D1 team.
The Warriors are a professional basketball team based in Oakland.
They don't even call it?
Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Yeah.
I thought he was Golden State.
That's the Warriors.
Oh,
Golden
right.
State Warriors.
Okay, yes.
We're learning things here. We're learning.
Yeah, we're learning.
Yes, we're educating. Warriors.
Okay, the Warriors. Go to Warriors.
We got to go to a Warriors game now.
Yeah, I need
Shout
to.
out to the Warriors. We're going to take Monet to a game.
I would love to. Well, here's the thing. So in New York City, the Brooklyn Nets, they had a celebrity night thing, and they wanted me to come to a game back in last Pride.
Yes.
And I couldn't go, and so they offered me again to go in September, and I couldn't go last September. So I hope my invitation is rescinded, but I would love to go to. And I want to go in full drag.
Yeah.
I'm going in full drag, sitting courtside, trying to find me a ball up. To wipe it up.
Want to be the first. We'll talk about that.
It'll be me and EJ Johnson sitting there looking for a man.
No, but it's so important. I really, really think that you should do that. Yeah. More importantly, I think shout out to Brooklyn Nets. I lived in Brooklyn for most of my adult life, so super support them. But so I started out in basketball, athlete, and then music. Was really the passion that took over. So I started producing music in high school, and I thought I was hot shit. Because I was remember when CD burners came out?
Of course.
And everybody was like, I'm a star. I made my own CD. We were printing our own labels on the thing and everything.
Yeah.
So I thought I was super hot shit. And I went to college, Lauryn Hill went to Columbia and Alicia Keys had gone to Columbia. I think
I didn't know Lauryn Hill went to Columbia.
Yeah, for 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
But that was the claim to fame.
Yeah.
And
people often forget that Lauryn Hill is a Jersey girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But I think of her as New York, though. She's a Jersey girl.
Jersey, New York. I mean, she's Newark, right? That was the whole Fugees thing, right? But she went there for a bit. I mean, she's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
just a singular. Shout out to Lauryn Hill. Just killed it at the Met Gala.
Looked so good in that
Incredible.
yellow.
She was on time at the Met Gala.
Yeah, I know. That is crazy.
Lauryn was on time.
Lauryn was on time. That's true. She showed
Everybody should be so thankful she even showed up. She looked incredible. We could talk about that all day. We'll talk about the Met. I would love your thoughts on the Met. But yeah, so I stopped playing basketball because I wanted to do two things. I had actually never met my father before at this time. And truthfully, if we're going to go therapy, spiritual, all that stuff, basketball was a way for me to connect to, especially Black men and that community in my life. So I kind of got to this point where I felt like I needed to just go do it, like meet my father and have that courage. Yeah. And then after that, it was all about music. And I started a record label in college. We raised $50,000. Yeah, we were pressing CDs.
Hold on. How do you raise 50? Like that is very to raise 50 as a college. How did you? Were y'all doing crowdsourcing?
Hustling. There's a whole other story here, but yes, we were honestly just like pitching around the school, like, and some kids' parents were like, "We love this idea and we want to help support." And then we got other brands involved, and we were hustling. We had like, I think back in the day, it was like some telecom companies. Anyway, a bunch of people gave us money.
Wow.
We were like, we're Columbia students. We're going to take over the world. Blah 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 blah. And I tried to sell my label to Sony Music, I think at the time. And they were like, we're not going to buy your label, but what are you doing after college? And they gave me my first job in the music business. And so I was working at Jive Records, JRCA, doing marketing. I worked on Alicia Keys's third album. I think it was As I Am.
As I Am,
The No One. I'm not going to sing it. I'm going to let you sing that.
You know what? No One is deceptively a hard song to sing. I've tried to sing it at karaoke before, and it's not an easy song.
Alicia, respect to her, was like blowing her vocal cords out every time trying to do this song, and it was such a hard song to.
And that's like when you see people come for Alicia Keys now, I'm like, okay, are we not going to put respect on someone who like
we can't come for
like Alicia Keys is like she really like helped solidify her brand of R&B in like early 2000s with like the opening for her second album, Harlem's Nocturne.
Yeah,
like taking
beautiful.
Like piano and timpani and having all these like orchestral sounds and like hip hop. It was so dope.
And let me say this about Alicia. Alicia, you are so kind. You are the blueprint for how to be an A-level artist and an A-level human being.
I've heard this many times about her.
She is just the best. Yeah. And she would be in her marketing meetings. She would be in her like promo meetings. No other artists were doing that at the time. And I just had so much respect for her. And I knew that this is why her projects come out and just hit, because she takes full responsibility for everything. Dope. So yeah, we will always speak light into Alicia Keys' name. Yeah. I will stand forever. I think she was like one of the first CDs I ever bought. I'm going to date myself, but like, I love Alicia. Anyway.
I think the first CD I bought was that was the first CD I bought with like my own allowance money. I think I was 9. I bought the Brandy Never Say Never album.
Okay. Yeah. Classic.
Brandy is she's on my Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. And still doing it.
Oh yeah, still doing it. I mean, we need another album. We had B7. We need B8. Where's B8 at?
We absolutely do.
Brandy.
We need a tour. Is she touring now?
No, I don't think she's touring. I mean, I think she could.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe if Ray J stopped acting the fool on social media, she'll feel the need to come out. But she's like, her brother's always out here doing something crazy.
Who would have thought back then that we'd be talking about Ray J more than Brandy? But anyway, we'll keep. I don't know how do we get here. Oh yeah, music. So
music. Yeah.
So those were my first steps into culture, right? Yeah. And I fell in love because with music, it's not the kind of thing where you can just like put some music out there and hope that people are going to find it. You got to work. You got to be a part of the culture. It's about the relationships and the building and all of that. And that's where I really learned how culture moves, right? And especially our culture, Black folks, especially Black women, queer community, all of that. We drove everything, right? And we knew it back then, but to me, it was just all I knew. So I thought everybody understood that.
Yeah.
But I really learned in those early days, like, if you want, you got to have the relationships with the DJs. You got to have the relationships with like the local video outlets, like all of these types of things. And that's how trusted voices will put you into the cultural conversation when you really bring it to them the right way. So that was really important for me.
Well, I think the thing about you that really rings true, like the through line, if you will, the fabric and a lot, and even what you're describing from back then when you was in music, is you have this respect for the culture that I think is very important to where you are at now. So would you credit music with the thing that teaching you that culture was important?
I think it was a couple of things. I think I came from a small town in like Massachusetts. Like,
my God, Massachusetts. Girl, Massachusetts is the whitest state we have. After Connecticut. Connecticut is a scary white.
Massachusetts is an interesting place. We're not going to spend too much time on that. We're going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went to high school there. And so and it was a small town. So when I got to New York City, plugging into the music industry was like, it really like just taught me, everything. Like I cut my teeth. And more importantly, it taught me that you don't need so much money or whatever it is to like make an impact. Like when I look back at it, the budgets that we had to work with, I mean, we would go shoot 5 music videos, in a day, on a shoestring, me, the director and the artist staying in the same hotel room, all of that. But it would hit, if it was right, if it was the culture, if it was us, it would hit. So yeah, that was a huge formative like shaping of like my mindset and how to make things, move basically.
Dope.
Yeah.
And then so the year is blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we'll have to fast forward a bunch. Yes.
Well, I guess my question though is, so you go from in the music industry and then you're HBO and all these like media things.
Yeah.
And then you wanted, why did you make this, when did you make the shift to social media? Because you went to, like, what was that?
So that really started when I went to TV. And so I worked at Showtime and HBO. I led social media for HBO, kind of at the apex.
Okay, what era of HBO are we talking about?
The apex of Game of Thrones, Westworld, and Insecure, and just the beginnings of Euphoria.
Insecure.
Yeah.
I need one more season anyway. We're going to talk about that.
I just saw Jay the other day, Jay Ellis, and...
Okay, can I tell you?
I get it.
If there was one person, if I had a magic wand, I could just make gay and fall in love with me, it would be Jay Ellis. That scene when he cheats on when he's getting his lick back at Issa for cheating on her with that, and the shot of his ass.
Let me tell you. So what it was like working at HBO when that hit. When that hit, right? So the that last episode, like the finale, when he gets back, all that stuff, the conversation online, right? And especially with Twitter, Black Twitter back then and everything, it was like nothing else. More people were talking about it online. A lot of people hadn't even seen the full episode than actually watched the show the whole season. And that was the light bulb for me. I was like, wow, like, this is different, right? Like when we are talking more about, and like it becomes like part of the lexicon, and are you Team Lawrence or Team, all that stuff that broke out. I was like, this is powerful.
Yeah.
So that was really when the light bulb started going off that eventually resulted in what we're building on Spill today. But, that was so much fun. And even Game of Thrones, right? When people would watch Game of Thrones, that was one thing. But when you watched it, with Black Twitter, and it was like Game of Thrones, and, we're throwing the do-rag on the dragon and all this kind of stuff. I was like, this is special, right? Like, this is different. So I became obsessed. I really wanted to study, and I became such a nerd, frankly, about like how these online communities move and build and who drives them. And, no surprise, again, it's us, right? Yes. It's Black folks, it's queer folks, it's Black women drove all of Black Twitter, right? Like in a lot of those instances. And it was global too. When you go to K-pop, right? K-pop fandoms and those standoms, a lot of those are young Black kids. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
In K-pop?
A lot of those fandoms, like those fan accounts, are really driven by like young Black women or young Black queer folks.
Yeah.
And nobody gives them the credit, but they like steward the stuff and come up with the inside jokes and everything. Yeah. And so it's just so powerful. Like these kids are deciding what's cool, right? Yeah. And so I got really obsessed with all of that. And we ran a campaign, one of my last projects at HBO, it was the 20th anniversary of The Sopranos. Right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Uh-huh. Again, dating myself. I don't know what the years are. But anyway, so we gave away Sopranos mobster nicknames on Twitter all day. And we thought this was just a stupid stunt, right? Whatever. All these celebrities started jumping in. It was like Lin-Manuel Miranda. It was Ben Schwartz. It was Blake Griffin. It was like all these folks. And then Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, founder, jumped in. He's like, I want a mobster nickname. And we famously, Jack doesn't like the edit button on Twitter. If you remember back in the day, it was like nobody's getting an edit button. It was like, you just, the edit button is in your head. That's what we used to say. And we gave him Jackie No Edits as this name. He made it his profile name, the whole thing. And 6 months later, Twitter called me and they were like, we have this job, the head of social media for Twitter, the company. Dope. Would you come do this? Dope. Happened super fast. I was like, I don't even know what that means, but hell, let's go do that. And that sort of began the Twitter era, and we can get into all that.
Got it. Okay, wow. Yeah. So it was just there wasn't like because so you were running socials at HBO, weren't you? You weren't interested in keeping. You wanted to shift because you saw because of how influential because of how influential you saw culture could be on Twitter, you were like, I want to go in that. I don't want to keep on doing this stuff about TV and film. Because well, you can do all of that doing on the side that you're going to be in.
So from a impact standpoint, right? You know, if you're running social media, and shout out to all the social media managers out there, everybody who like really does an amazing job. Yeah, shout out to all y'all, because this is an underappreciated gig. You know, when you're running, you're the voice of a brand or a company, right? Yeah. Typically, you might have a couple million people that are listening to whatever you do on each day, right? Yeah. It's like God powers. It's like I press this button and I can basically say whatever I want, and people are going to, you know, listen to it. If you go from that to the platform side, so from a brand to the platform, now I have a voice that reaches 120 million people around the world at the press of a button. And it gives me a reason to be in pretty much every significant cultural conversation happening at any time in the world. Yeah. Music, movies, TV, fashion. We would try to stay away from the politics. We'll get to that. Yeah. The global side of it too. Like my team at its peak at Twitter was 30 people, and we were spread out in the US, UK, Japan, West Africa, and India. So just to have that like purview of how conversation is moving around the world at all times is, if you love culture and you love like making things pop, like that was it. It was like, there's no other job like this. And it was my job to make sure that we could lift up these voices that are typically ignored, frankly. This came up a lot. Like I was running this team during the pandemic, George Floyd's murder, the insurrection, the eventual takeover by Elon. Like it was just an era where all eyes were on us. And it really just trained me. You know, I think everything that I had done up to that point prepped me for how I wanted to, when you get the mic, right? Like, what would you do with it? If you have a microphone to the world, what are you going to use it for? What are you going to say? So that's what we had to answer every day.
And then so before, so Jack Dorsey, whatever, his era was done, and Elon, like, how was it before Elon was there?
You know, it's interesting.
Was it dope? Like, was it all sunshine and rainbows? Because I think because it's so fucked up now, as like looking and we're like, oh, it must have been just like, everyone's like, hey, how you doing? Like, hello. Like, it's fucking Beauty and the Beast or something.
I think in hindsight, there's a lot of like justified referendum on like these big tech companies, you know, like free food and, you know, perks out the wazoo and all that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. These are great jobs, right? And especially for Black folks, right? Twitter was a great place to get an opportunity because you really like had a community there. There was a group inside of Twitter called Blackbirds. And that was a big reason why I joined, is they would like just embrace you. Like, it's like, oh, if you're Black in tech, oftentimes you're one of the only people on your team. Right. So, hey, come join this little hangout, right? Like, come meet these other people. Let us help you navigate this environment. So that was really special. At the same time, I think I had like 3 months before the pandemic hit. So we were like distributed. Everybody was working at home, and that transition was like really tough, you know, because you have to, you know, you lose that sense of connection and, you know, camaraderie with your coworkers. So it was tough.
And then Leon was linked up 3.
That'll be the code name from now on. We're not going to say his name. Leon.
Yeah, you know, code name Leon. Oh my God, that's great. Don't club your shit with Leon. Code name. Leon. So Leon, he saw 3,700 people. You're part of that.
Yes.
And then you immediately, not all like the next day, but you pretty much go right into making Spill.
Yeah, quite literally.
You had to did you have this little thing in your back pocket that you were working on beforehand, that you were already thinking of doing this? Or did it just like, you're like, you know what, this happened, I got to pivot, I got to keep on moving, I got to keep on rolling?
I would be lying if I said I had Spill perfectly laid out in my brain at that time. I've always had this entrepreneurial energy and wanting to start new things and seeing opportunities, and particularly problem solving, right? Like, that's all entrepreneurship is. It's like, oh, this thing is pissing me off so much, I got to go do something, you know, different. But I'll be transparent in that the moment that really clicked for me was, you know, for 24 hours, I think Leon was my boss. And so many people have been laid off at that point that it was just so clear that they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't really have a plan in the way that I think people who would buy a company like that should have a plan. on how they were going to, evolve the product, the company, what they were going to do. I think in hindsight now we can see that the plan was to have no plan and they were focused on other things.
Yeah.
But I realized two things as that transition was happening. One, they didn't know this any better than us. They were not smarter than us. They did not have experience running these platforms or understanding what made these platforms cool. And then the second, the only difference between us and them was audacity. That was it.
Honestly, let me tell you something. What I've learned being in this industry for the 9 years I have been now, audacity, the nerve to be audacious
100%.
will get you 90% of the way.
Yeah. Almost everything.
Just be audacious about everything that you do.
Yeah, audacity and being relentless.
Yeah,
frankly,
really.
It's kind of the whole game.
Yeah.
And so I had never built, a tech company from the ground up. I had never raised venture capital or money for a startup before. But I was honestly just like so pissed off.
Yeah.
I was just like, nah, you don't know this better than us. This is going to go left. And it was just so antithetical to celebrating ultimately people, right? Because social media as a industry is about two things: technical excellence and understanding people. And human psychology, right? You have to care about people at least a little bit to run these platforms well, right? And it was clear that there was only really great technical excellence and kind of an entire disregard for just people's well-being, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at the data, right? And this is, sorry to get super nerdy on this
No,
stuff, but
please.
it's like,
we like nerdy here. We like nerdy.
It's breathtaking. So hate speech, harassment has been a problem on the internet since the internet was born, right? Social media.
I feel like, except for Vine. Vine was the one place that...
Were you on Vine? Were you doing little Vines? Did you have the choice?
And it was so short. People don't have the time to hate. You know what I mean? 7 seconds. What the fuck are you gonna say in 7 seconds?
Well, it didn't last long enough for it to, R.I.P. Vine. We love Vine. But this has been an issue. YouTube, obviously Instagram, obviously, Facebook, TikTok, all these platforms, and especially Twitter, people would just behave terribly, and the technology and the way it was built sort of incentivized and rewarded it as long as it was getting a rise out of people.
Yeah.
And so the data is so stunningly awful at this point. And this was like 2 years ago when we had started Spill, that it was something like on the order of 1 out of every 5 Black people has experienced some form of racial harassment online in the last 12 months alone.
Hello?
And then you speed that up to today, almost 1 in every 4 people in the United States who uses social media, and that's 300 million people in total use some form of social media in this country. Almost 1 out of every 4 has experienced some sort of harassment.
It's crazy.
In the last 12 months. This is like a hate crime, like truly, like this is stuff like should be tried at The Hague or something like that. And nobody's doing that much about it at these platforms. It's sort of treated as this academic problem, like, oh, can we get the percentage down? But actually what's really happening is they're just firing all the teams and the people that were working on these problems. So Meta rolled back their trust and safety team. Obviously, Twitter, now X, has completely decimated whatever their trust and safety team was and their guidelines. Like, you can go on there and see some of the most heinous shit super easy, and millions of people are engaging with it, and nobody's really doing anything about it. So that was really the thing that had like crystallized for me long ago. And it was like, okay, could we fix this internally, right? Like, could we go inside these companies and like, if we have enough of us, so we can make this change. Nah. Like a resounding, like, I hate to be that way, but it was just like, nah. And there's this quote from a really great thinker named Buckminster Fuller. He says, if you really want to change a system, you're never going to change it from within. You have to design a new system that renders the old one obsolete.
Oof. Well, that's good.
And that was really what crystallized the night that the layoffs happened. And I called my co-founder at the time, and I was just like, hey, nobody's going to do this if we don't do this. But more importantly, if we do this together, right? I recruited a couple folks from Twitter and, all this other stuff. We can actually make a run at this. We can actually like put something out there that people will potentially care about. And so from the night I got laid off to 3 months later, raised $2.75 million for the startup, to 5 months after that.
Take that $50K in college, honey. I'm at $2.5 million now.
Listen, so then we put out the first version of Spill. It was the summer of 2023. And then within 3 weeks, we were #1 in the Apple App Store.
So
I think we're the first Black-owned social media platform to ever go #1 in the social media category. Hopefully not the last, right?
Yeah.
And so that was like this crazy transition from, I'd worked at the company. I've been doing big corporate jobs for like, a decade.
Yeah.
So just like 6 months, fired, defunded to #1 in the App Store. And it's just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But I believe in divine timing, and I'm super woo-woo, as you know, it's spiritual. I was just like, it was time, it was just time.
Okay, so if some random kid walk up to you are on the 2 train going uptown, and you have a Spill hat on, and some kid comes up to you and is like, what's Spill? Like, how would you describe Spill?
So if it was a kid on the 2 train, I would be like, it's Sunday afternoon with your favorite cousins in your back pocket. You're kikiing, you're dropping jokes, you're playing games. We got spades, as you know. And really, the mission of Spill is to create just the best way to stay informed and connected, the safest, most rewarding, most enjoyable way to stay informed and connected. That's our mission.
Monét Talks.
Have you ever been to a dentist that has bad bedside manner? Or a therapist that only has appointments available at the most inconvenient time? Well, gone are those days because ZocDoc is here. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and instantly book an appointment all in one place. I've been using it since I was in New York City, and they just make booking a doctor easy, fast, reliable, dependable. And what I personally love are the patient reviews. Baby, I don't need a soap opera. I do not need the next season of Pretty Girls. Pretty Little Liars. That's what I don't need, because ZocDoc patient reviews have all the drama. And I like it because you get the real tea. You get to know if these doctors are good for you, or if they have bad bedside manner, if they are on time, if they help people get what they need. That's why I like ZocDoc. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Monet to find and instantly book top-rated quality doctors today. That's ZocDoc.com/Monet. ZocDoc.com/Monet.
So on there, I mean, you have like people like Kerry Washington, like these like really. If someone thought that, oh well, since I am not of the culture, I can't be a part of Spill. Like, what do you agree with that? Do you say yes, you can, no, you can? Like, what? Like, how do you feel about that?
It's been a hot debate. No, absolutely, everybody is welcome on Spill, but everybody coming to Spill should know that it's like, hey, we're essentially a soul food restaurant.
That's
if you like soul food, come on in.
Yeah.
Respect what's going on here. Don't expect it to be like anything else that you're used to.
Yeah.
But if you're down for that and you're down to support and, come, wanting to just connect and bring love, of course, everybody's welcome. And I think that obviously should be the norm, right? Versus what we're used to now, right?
Well, I think that's such a great analogy. Like, this is a soulful restaurant. If you don't like fried chicken or catfish or cornbread or macaroni and cheese or some greens or some ham hocks, then it's probably not the place for you to be.
Right. And at the same time, it's like, I think everybody should enjoy. And I want, especially the creators, like folks like yourself, right? Like who are, I think, just incredibly powerful and frankly underappreciated in our culture, right? Like the other metaphor that I really liked was coming from music. In the 90s, when we had the explosion of hip hop, we went from being just performers, right, for quite some time, to actually owning the labels, right? Like every artist was like, all right, now I got to get a label, let me do that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think of Spill now is like, we dominate the internet, right? Like creator culture is all the trends, all the lexicon, everything comes from us, comes from you, right? Like, so why not own the platform too? And that was something that we were also really excited about because one of the things people had been asking since we launched was, can I invest in Spill, right? And I was like, damn, I didn't even think about that. I was like, because like this is like, again, getting super nerdy with it, but like some of the most powerful companies, right, that we are used to today, that we all use every day, right? Like, obviously the social platforms, but think about Ubers and all these other things. They're technology companies. And they're early stage technology companies that a lot of people would have loved to have been like, oh, I was early investor in this, early investor in that. But we don't ever get access to it. And that was kind of by design. There's like laws that were in place up until very recently that would prevent us from actually investing in something that was like a high growth early startup. So we actually just launched this dope campaign. It's called Own the Conversation, and we made a little bit of equity available to people who use Spill so that you can actually own a piece of it as well. And the investment minimum is like $250. It's not crazy, and it's not like some weird crypto scammy stuff. This is like you actually own a piece of the company that ideally you're using every day to connect and stay informed. So we're really excited about all that.
So if I'm a user of Spill, I can go on and again, I will say this. So a lot of, even me, I have financial people I hire to help me do I feel so like with things like owning company and this, my brain is always like, what? So in layman's terms, if I use the app, there's a program where I can go and I can however much I want, upwards of $250, and I can own a piece of Spill because it's something I utilize every day. And you should invest in things that you use. Like that to me makes the most sense.
And I think about it as not like get rich quick stuff, right? Like this is definitely, and also don't like spend your rent money or something crazy. You know, think about it though as like, I own some Apple stock. I own some of this. And I'm putting money, you know, where my values are, right? And a lot of times, because I want to own a piece and help shape the future of our digital commons, which is so important. And I think especially as we think about future generations, like all the kids who watch you, right? Like all the people who look up to you, right? What are the platforms that are going to help them, you know, grow and shine and be the next wave in the future? And can we shape that? Can we own that? Because we see what happens when we don't, right? And we just want to change the whole like blueprint for leadership in these spaces. Like, yes, be an amazing technologist and, you know, whatever, but be culturally competent. Be literate in what's going on. Care about people. Radical concept, but that's what we're about.
I know. I feel like the care, and it seems like something so basic and some biblical shit or whatever, or like spiritual, but it literally just caring for the next person fucking standing next to you is just, it's so easy to do, but it just feels like such a lost art. It feels like a fucking art form that we don't do anymore. Like it's like playing on a fucking harpsichord. Like it's crazy.
Bring harpsichords back. Bring a harpsichord back.
I want to see Lauryn Hill and Wyclef. Well, they won't be able to go on stage anytime soon, but you know what I mean? Anyway, so how do y'all handle? So let's say somebody's on Spill acting up. How do y'all handle that? Like, are the community like? Is it like you know helping our own? Like, or do y'all have moderators? Like, how do we handle because trolls? No matter what, trolls are gonna come.
100%.
They're gonna show up,
and they have, and they try us every day. We're ready. So we studied this quite a lot, right? We think about this quite a lot, and we really came up with like a 3-tiered. I'm gonna get really nerdy with you. A 3-tiered approach to really make this different, right? And just do a better job. The first is policy. The second is technology, and the third is community. So policy. If you go to spill.com/community guidelines, we worked with the top trust and safety experts in the field. Did all this research on like, okay, what did the platforms 20 years ago get wrong, right? Because nobody knew these things were going to be this impactful. Nobody thought geopolitical concerns were going to be solved in 140 characters. But here we are, right? So learning from the past, and what they didn't do in the past was actually treat this like what it is, which is almost like nation building. You have to treat this like you're governing a country and essentially establish the rules of engagement, laws, right? Like you come into the Spill Nation or whatever it is, this is the terms of engagement that you have to agree to in order to be here. And part of those terms is you're just not going to mess with people. It's not like we're going to hide the bad behavior somewhere. You're not going to attack Black folks, queer folks, women, immigrants, whatever it is, off the strength and be able to exist on the platform. We say it very clearly, and none of these platforms before actually did that frankly had the business model that would support that kind of vision. So that's number one. You have to have your laws. And then number two, you have to enforce them. And that's where the technology comes in. So we built and are constantly training one of the first, let me get you really nerdy here, large language model AI systems for content moderation that's trained by the communities that get the most hate speech. So we actually, you know, don't just theoretically be like, what is this person saying or whatever. We actually know who's saying what and actually have filters running all the time that are training on the new, frankly, all the new like derogatory terms and things like that.
Yeah.
So that we can capture it before it even hits the feed. So we have just far less drama on the feed to begin with. And then we do have human moderators, but they do far less than typical, right? And it's 24/7. We're always innovating, and that's how we do it. But then the third thing is really the community. And so when you have the policy, like these are the rules, and then the community knows we will take action, the community feels empowered. Like when people come on Spill trying to troll or, whatever, they're just not going to get very far. The community's not into it. This isn't the place. Exactly. Like literally anti-voice, like that. It's just not something that you're going to get the motion on. And that's the psychology behind trolls, right? Like trolls do it. Even if it's a negative response, that gives them the dopamine
100%.
hit, right? So they're like, I want to commit. Spill, you just won't get it. You're not going to get the dopamine here. So they move on. And I think the community is really, really proud of the fact that they feel like they're custodians of this really special space that we're building. And especially with whatever, everything that's going on in the world, everybody really appreciates having it now more than ever.
Oh, no! With all this very hard work you're doing, obviously, and all this, how do you preserve you? How do you preserve your energy? How do you?
Who said I'm preserved?
How do you moderate and regulate all of that? That's tough.
I'm working hard to try and figure that out. I honestly, I wish I had like a beautiful answer. I definitely am spiritual, so I've been a Buddhist for over 20 years, and that practice has always grounded me, especially in trials. Like when you just don't know the outcome of a situation. It's like that's huge. I love, I moved to LA, that's helped. I mean, shout out to New York. I love New York. I love Brooklyn.
I know, same.
I know you're originally, you know what it is. Yeah, but, being able to go hug a tree, just look at the beach, once in a while is helpful. But yeah, I'm working on it. How do you do it? Like what? Because you're as busy as anybody. Like,
for me is video game. What's something I do? The video games really help me out.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing over the past 2 years is I have a hookup. And sometimes it's difficult in certain hotels, but I have a hookup to hook my Switch to my hotel TV.
Okay.
And after a gig, and no matter what it is, I just give myself an hour to play fucking Super Smash Brothers for an hour.
I was going to say, what are the games you're playing?
Super Smash Brothers. Well, at home, I play more like long-form things like God of War and other things like that at home. But Jinx brings her PS5 all over with her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's too much. That's too much.
Is it though?
Well, a Switch is this big. A PS5 is bringing a house.
I mean, but if it gets you through, you know what I mean? Like, if it gets you through, I'm just saying, if you need to bring your PS5 or your Xbox, whatever it is, you should do it.
And then imagine I bring my PS5, I run through that fucking X-ray machine, and then it scrambles the chips or something, and then my shit is. I would be beside myself.
That's real.
I would off someone if that happens to me.
That's real. TSA.
Get it together. Yeah, TSA, get your shit together. So that's how I preserve mine. And in summer's coming, I just want to just lay in my pool and just luxuriate. I think that will make me really
because
things be going on.
Things be thinking. Yeah.
I have a game I want to play.
Okay, here we go.
It's called If Social Media Were a Person. I'm going to give you a description of a person, and you have to say which social media platform that person would be. All right? Okay. First one.
I'm get in trouble.
Wears designer clothes, just take selfies in Whole Foods and Erewhon.
Oh, the Whole Foods and Erewhon. I mean, it's got to be Instagram, but I think there's a couple. I mean, it reminds me of Raya.
I know it's not social media,
but it's giving Raya.
Oh, very Raya. I was a Raya for a hot second. I was like, first of all, it was only matching me with people who were like across the world. I'm like, why are you showing me someone in fucking Australia? Like, I live in the States. Not unless they're a billionaire that's going to fly to me for lunch every day. Like,
I mean, that's the promise of Raya, right?
Allegedly.
It would be a billionaire. Well, it's rough out there. It's rough. Yeah.
Bob and I did, my best friend Bob the drag queen. Bob the drag queen. We debate this often. Do you think there is such a thing as an ethical billionaire?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes, I know a few. Yes, we have some backing Spill. Shout out to Mitch and Frida Kapoor. Mitch was a really successful technologist in the 80s. He built Lotus Notes. This is for the real hardcore tech folk. This was like Microsoft Office and Word before.
Oh.
Then, yeah.
Real. Is it that little paper clip they used to fold around on the screen?
That was old school Office. That was Clippy. Shout out to Clippy underappreciated.
What was the original AI?
AI is a generative murderous term for Clippy. I think Clippy was a cartoon character.
Clippy used to do some things.
Clippy did some things. Shout out to Clippy, you know. But yeah, what was? God, I forgot
sorry. Ethical billionaires.
Ethical billionaires. Yeah, so they actually started a venture capital fund just to invest in underserved founders. You know, Black, Hispanic people who typically don't get venture funding, and they were the first money in to spill. So I can definitely vouch
for that.
But I think the ethical billionaires also fly below the radar.
Yeah, they're not the ones who are out here like.
Yeah, and we need to talk about them more. But yes, I think we should have more ethics for billionaires, particularly in our tax code. You know? So we'll get into that.
Yeah. Next time we have the argument, I'm like, yes, I know. What are the names again?
Mitch and Frida Kapor.
Mitch and Frida Kapor. Yes. Who started the Lotus Flower.
They would love you, by the way. We got to get you up there. We're going to do that.
I would love to meet them.
Yeah.
Okay. Won't stop talking about the algorithm.
Oh my God, it's TikTok.
Right?
Obsessed.
Okay, this is my question. Okay, forgive my ignorance.
Yeah.
You are obviously, this is your world.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, so why is only the TikTok algorithm, why is TikTok's algorithm why is that so, it's like this grand prize. Like, why is it so fucking special? Like, why is the algorithm so fierce?
Yeah, so I think this is where I'll be a professor for a second. So an algorithm, just so everybody knows, algorithm is just math. It's like a recipe for a dish. And you're just like, it's just telling a computer, you know, follow these instructions and make, you know, French toast with blueberries on it or something like that. I just was talking about this yesterday. So this is fresh for me. So every platform has had an algorithm.
Right.
Spill's got algorithms. Everybody, it's just math, right?
Yeah.
I think what made TikTok's quote unquote algorithm so special was instead of like having to do all this work to like follow these accounts or whatever, you just press like or heart on some things and it starts sending you things that are in line with whatever that piece of video was. It just made it easier, I think, for people to get hooked. Then the magic trick is making you feel like it knows you.
Yeah.
It doesn't know you. It's just tracking your behavior and using some sophisticated math. But it's just math. That's all.
See, well, they really make it seem like this algorithm.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Yeah.
And I get why that one would be important because a lot of people use TikTok and but they make it seem like, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Says they're just here to connect.
I mean, I know LinkedIn is still the connection platform du jour, so that's what comes to mind first.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. Just here to connect. It also sounds like dating apps and stuff.
I've never been on LinkedIn.
What you have in mind?
What's that one? Coffee Meets Bagel. Which is such a stupid name for an app. Coffee Meets Bagel.
Shout out to the founders of that, though. They did really well. It was 2 young women founders.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, shout out to them. They've done some good stuff.
Love that it's 2 women. I love that.
Yeah.
But the name is just so like...
The name is...
It's also, I'm a gay man. I use Grindr. So like, I don't have any room to talk. You know what I mean? Grindr. Okay, an app I thought about. Because lesbians do not have the equivalent of a hookup app. So I'm thinking I would like to create an app called Liquor. LIK''R. Liquor. It'll be the lesbian answer to Grindr. I think it will be everything. Fine, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's develop it. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm telling you.
Listen. So, oh man, there's so many places I go with that, but we should probably keep going before I get myself in trouble. Oh my God.
Think about it. I think ruminate on it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be like the Sniffies for the community. Shout out to the founders of Sniffies too.
Oh my God, really?
Big fans. Yeah.
Well, okay, but Sniffies is so adult. You can't even get an app. They can't even get an app for it.
They can't be in the app store, but they still making money. They out here working. Shout out to that. It's solving a problem that many people have. This is what entrepreneurs do. Shout out to Sniffies team.
Okay, well, we'll do Liquor.
Yeah.
Deal.
Well, we're gonna put that into development. You know, I'm not
gonna commit. Okay, that's fine. Okay, two more. You blocked them 5 years ago, but somehow they're back.
Oh my gosh. Block them. I mean, that could be all of them. That could be all.
I will say Twitter or X because all the people who were banned are now all back.
That's fact.
They got their accounts back.
Facts. I mean, full transparency, I actually try and stay off there as much as possible these days.
I know.
So, yeah, that could be everything. When I hear that, I think a lot of, Facebook and Instagram folks who their exes pop back up and you're just like, how am I seeing this person? Yeah. But yeah, that's real.
Insists they're different, but copy. No, I don't like that one. Oh, says community driven, but only talks to influencers.
I mean, it's...
You can be shady.
All of them. It's obviously it's Instagram again.
Insta.
But do you spend any time on LinkedIn? I have to do it because of all this tech stuff.
I've never even had a LinkedIn profile.
We have to launch you on LinkedIn. We're going to make an event out of this.
What do I have to do on LinkedIn?
You could satirize the shit out of it is so ridiculous.
Isn't it to get hired for jobs?
I think that is the premise maybe originally. It was like your resume is public, but it is just theater now. It's just performative corporate theater in the most disgusting ways. And you really have a blast on it. Yeah.
I thought about going to LinkedIn and just screenshotting different people's profiles and just reading them off on in a TikTok video.
One of my good friends, Rembert Brown, who's a really amazing journalist, has a LinkedIn profile. I encourage everybody to go look it up. He put all this fake stuff on there that's just hilarious. He put co-owner of the Atlanta Hawks, which is a basketball team, and then he put editor-in-chief of the New York Times. It was just amazing. It's perfectly ripe to be satirized.
Oh, so it's like Wikipedia. It's not verified. People can just put whatever they want on LinkedIn?
Put whatever they want.
Oh, I thought it had to be like, there was like some type of proofing.
You would think. That's something they should solve for. People just trust it. Yeah. But everybody's just out there trying to flex. Anyway, we could talk about something else.
Interesting. Yeah. So on Spill, is there a lot of dating on Spill?
Yes.
Is there like a dating component to her?
Not officially.
Okay.
But here's what was happening on Spill. So we launched and all these people came to the platform almost in a weekend, right? Like it was like suddenly a city is here. And people started organizing meetups in person. So there was ATL Spill, Philadelphia, Silicon Valley, Houston Spill, LA Spill, all of that. So they start meeting up in person because they were meeting through the platform. And then these relationships start forming. So we actually had a couple that met on the platform, I think a year ago. They got married 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Pregnant. And the baby just was born like 3 weeks ago.
The first Spill baby.
The first Spill baby.
Oh, I love that.
Shout out to Big Baby Puffs and King Me. I don't even know their real names. I just know their handles. Yes, this beautiful baby was born on Spill.
Oh my God, I love that.
Literally, we're getting like updates as they're going to the delivery room, I think. And it was like where everybody was wrapped and amazing. So
that's so dope.
And I think that's what we didn't know that we were building something that was about connection, but that's actually the most valuable thing that I think people need right now and what we're focused on.
If I'm being super honest, to me, that is the beautiful, and I think I've said it like 19 times, the beautiful thing that about what you're doing and creating with Spill is this sense of genuine community. Like it doesn't feel fake or forced. Like when you're on Spill, like you genuinely see that in the way people interact with each other. And again, maybe because I'm just in my own little bubble, my Monet bubble, drag bubble, but I have never seen any like derogatory shit on there or any nobody. And again, I'm not saying this and this. I'm just saying for y'all, I'm not trying to gas this man up. I'm just saying from my experience, I just have not seen it on the app. So whatever the three-tiered system you're talking about, it really is working on there. And what you're talking about, like to have people have this experience of this couple spilling about them going to like literally deliver the baby that they had because they met through Spill. Again, it's just this through line of how like this lovely Venn diagram of where culture meets community. It's so very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was one of the things I didn't anticipate being so meaningful about the journey. I think we were like, all right, we're going to be, hot and, this be all these conversations and this is where people are going to come to. But I actually took the team. We went to Atlanta 2 weeks ago for an on-site. We are a remote company, but we fly everybody into a city once every couple of months. And we just met up with a bunch of people who have been on the platform, in person. And you're like, wow, all these people would not know each other if we hadn't done this.
Yeah.
And I think in an era where AI is exploding and all these things, we're getting so isolated. There's the Surgeon General had that report about social isolation epidemic 2 years ago, where it's like we spend so much less time with our friends and our family today than we did 20 years ago, that the health impact is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Really?
Like social connection is not a nice to have.
Yeah.
It's not a luxury. This is a healthcare issue.
Yeah.
We need each other. Like, come over, hang out.
Yes.
Like
come and spill.
Each other. Exactly. So for us, like, that's the problem we really feel needs to be solved, and we're in a position to do so. And in order to do that, you need to feel safe. Right. It's a prerequisite, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Before you can get to love and belonging, you just got to feel safe. Like nobody's going to jump all over you or judge you or whatever. And so, we're not perfect, but we're getting there.
And I think, because to circle back to something you said earlier, because we've been so conditioned to believing that's how social media has to be.
Right.
It has to be toxic. It has to be people literally spewing venom. So I think we've all gotten so desensitized. We're just like, someone just called me a black monkey bitch. So that's just kind of how it is, Right. Anyway, on my Tuesday, we've been so conditioned to think like that's how it should be. I was like, no, it's not fucking normal. It doesn't have to be that way. So I love that.
No, and if people said that to you in your face, you knock the fuck out. Yeah, exactly.
On site.
And justifiably so. And so we shouldn't have different standards in our digital spaces that we have in our physical spaces. So 100%.
Fonz, this is such a great conversation. You've illuminated so many things for me, for everyone, for all of us watching. So thank you for doing Spill, and thank you for being here and sitting on the couch and talking about it.
Thank you for having me. This is such a blessing, a gift, and congratulations to you fucking superstar. We were watching, the last season of Drag Race, and every promo is you, and the song was high. We was hype. We screaming at the TV. That's Monet.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was really dope.
I was hype.
Yeah, I'm happy
Let them keep cutting those checks, too. I'm like,
Y'all be smart about your deals. Make sure y'all cut a back-end deal, okay? So every time the commercial come on TV, you get a little ta-ching. Okay.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. And the team and I have a gift for you. This is very special.
I love a gift.
It is
not Telfar bag?
It is not the Telfar bag, although shout out to Telfar. We should all get those. This is a custom Spill hoodie from one of our creators. His name is LaFresh. This has a satin-lined hoodie, so that when you exactly, it's beautiful. This is custom, one of one, just for you. And we wanted to say we just love having you on Spill and love who you are as a person and want to celebrate you. So thank you.
Look at that. I love wearing chocolate brown.
Oh yeah. This is the one.
This is my airport fit.
Yeah, this is the one.
I'm going to wear this, which is 5 days a week, by the way. So I'm going to work to that. People going, what's Spill? Download it and you'll find out.
Exactly.
Thank you, Fonz.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy.
Yes. Thank you all for watching another fabulous episode of Monét Talks. Listen, we're going to be back here next week with another fabulous guest. And make sure y'all download Spill and be part of the culture. Be part of the community. And don't be, if you're toxic, don't download it. If you're going to be nasty, stay your ass at home. And go back on X and be a nasty, shady bitch. Anyway, until next time. Bye.